everyone, to our Groundskeeper chat series. I am your host, Meg Kruger, and I am joined by a very special guest today, Mr. Vince Jagodzinski.
Close.
Oh,
I know. Jagodzinski.
Jagodzinski.
But very close, yes.
You know, you can always aim for perfection, but I'll always fall somewhere.
Totally understand.
And Mr. Vince is the manager of grounds and field testing here at Stanley Balck and Decker, and I just had the privilege to experience your day in the life of some sorts.
Sure.
You should walk us around campus this morning. Little did I know that this, wonderful campus was tucked away here in Valley City, Ohio. Yeah. Little did I know where Valley City, Ohio was until I typed it in this morning. But what an experience. I thank you. I start off by thanking you for that. It was wonderful.
More than welcome. So happy you guys can make it out today.
And this is your second time now on the Groundskeeper chat.
It is.
I'll have to be careful that you won't take the show right out from under me.
That's not going to happen. But thank you for having me. Absolutely.
And we met initially at PGMS.
Yes.
I said that correct. Perfect. Somebody texted me last night. They listened to the episode that we released from that live from PGMS. And they said, what an intro you gave, Meg. You said, we're here live from PGMS. What is this again?
Exactly, right? It happens. There you go. It's the drama. It's the excitement. It's the unveils. Yes.
That's a great way to package it. That's drama, excitement,
Stay
surprise.
Tuned. Yes.
That's how I would describe myself.
There you go. I love it. I would too. It's knowing you just a little bit. Yes, absolutely.
Well, we met with some of your co-workers or some of the folks that lead different departments here today, and they described you as someone that likes processes, not typically off the cuff, and I told you that could not be farther from me. But we've seen, like I said, right when we met the first time, I was like, I think you and I could do this for, we could have a longer episode than 10 minutes.
Yes, you did. I agree.
So different in maybe the workspace, but I think we see each other, as they like to say.
I like that. There we go. We got lingo for the business. I like it.
Definitely.
This is perfect. Yes.
So I will not make you go over the whole thing again because everyone should definitely go back and listen to our PGMS episode for your turf origin story, or they will be able to find it probably by the time this episode airs it on our social channels.
Okay.
But just in case there's somebody that misses all of that.
Yeah.
Give us the quick turf origin story. That's how we have to start our Groundskeeper chat.
Sure. No problem. Well, quick is probably not the way I describe my stories. So I'm going to try to be brief, but basically my turf origin story or green industry origin story starts when I was younger and the way my parents and my father was an avid gardener, and it was something I did not want to do. I did not like working in the garden with him, but little did I know that it was making an impression on me at that age. My father actually got me a job at a local greenhouse when I was a freshman in college, so that's kind of where it really started on an official scale. And I talked to you a little bit about this. It was a local greenhouse in Medina, Ohio, and the family was, I can't say enough about the family because they were fantastic. They've grown. They're huge right now. They're just a really good, still family-run business. But they gave me my start, right? And it was more about throwing bags of mulch in people's cars, and I got to talk to people, and that was kind of cool, and I wasn't really doing that before. But it moved right into plant material. And I'm an artist by trade. I went to school for art, and it started looking, and I started seeing color combinations and textures. So the landscape manager at the time started working with me on, hey, there's this design stuff that you can do, and help me out. And so I started helping her by laying stuff out in aisleways and helping customers and talking about plant material. And that was really the start where it just was like, okay, wait a minute, I really like doing this. I think you've heard a couple times today from some other people that are working here, I didn't want to work inside. Well, my goal in life at 17, 18 years old was I'm going to New York and I'm going to be an artist.
Okay.
I'm going to do this.
I haven't heard that yet. That's the first time I heard that today.
So it was, and people that know me, they're like, you would never have made it. And I go, you're right. It wasn't me, right? This industry is me. This is really what it's about. So that was really my goal is I'm going to be a really cool artist. out in New York, and I'm man, this is gonna be great. And as I went through my college career, studying art, still did that all the way through, loved it, had some great mentors in that. But I continued to work at this greenhouse, and I started looking at this landscape field, and I looked at the different aspects of the green industry. So it wasn't necessarily turf right off the beginning, but it was a little bit of everything, and that's what I loved about this greenhouse.
Yeah.
So as I went through college, the greenhouse owner, as I was graduating, offered me a full-time gig and said, "Hey, would you like to be the landscape and garden center operations for that side of it?" And I said, "I'd love to. It's wheelhouse. It's close to my parents' house. I'm living at home still, right? Just getting out of college, saving some money. I'm doing all my good things." And started taking some extra design courses at ATI, OSU in Worcester, right?
Yes.
So started doing some of that stuff, getting some formal training with it. But design always came easy for me because of the art. And so I built a rapport with some of the customers. As that went through, I did that for a few years. I started my own company with my brother. So my brother and I ran, it was a design and install firm that we ran out of Medina County area, Summit County. And, we did that for years, right? So I learned a lot through that part of it. As things kind of moved on, my brother moved on to Washington, D.C. And he actually went to the grounds on the Capitol grounds.
Very cool.
Yeah. So then he shifted careers right away.
We need to go and do a day in the life with him.
Well,
my
he
gosh.
shifted, so he's no longer in grounds. So he's gonna be like, "Hey, Vince, what are you talking about?" But he's moved on, and he's actually in law enforcement now. So
very cool.
He's still in the Capitol up there. But yeah, so as he kind of moved and transitioned, it was a period of my life where we were like, okay, it's time to move on. The grind of the landscape business, and you'll hear that. We kind of talked about the burnout, right?
Yeah.
So I think I was there.
Yeah.
Right. So we did. I did some retail with some other people, which was really cool. And again, it was more about operations management and landscape and design. And so it was still following that track, right? Kind of doing that thing. I landed at the University of Akron.
Okay. Yes.
Which was a great experience for me. Loved it a great deal. Was hanging out there for a little bit and did my things there, which again was grounds management, and that's really where things started kind of crystallizing, was moving in from the landscape world into the retail, back into the university setting where I started honing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I loved the design side of it. I couldn't get rid of it, but I started becoming more in tune with sports turf and specialty pieces, golf courses and management on all those sides, but also how do you care for different things? So turf management. So all those kind of pieces started kind of coming into line at the University of Akron. Lucky enough, or in the position, knowing the right people, you start learning and getting different networks, and eventually led to, at the time it was MTD Products, which is currently Stanley Balck and Decker. And I came over there, and I've been here now 11 years, I think is what I said earlier. Again, I'm not great with dates, but 11 years, and came over in the sales type of role.
Okay, yeah.
So in the professional world, so talking to my peers about equipment and product. And at that time, again, about knowing people and having the right contacts and having the right message and being able to speak with people, started looking at developing a more formal grounds department here at Valley City.
Okay.
So that we could highlight our campus.
Yep.
Right. And at the time we had many more acres, but the core of what we do is still the same as it was 11 years ago as in the property, but we have grown the department exponentially. And that's really about the team.
Yeah.
So yes, I like process, but I also I like creativity. I like uniqueness, but the process part of it kind of falls in with manufacturing. Right?
Yeah.
So data driven.
Yes.
Understanding that. So tying those two worlds together, I think is unique, and I think it's fun. And again, you've met some of the team members. I mean, again, nothing can be accomplished without them. They're fantastic. So it's all about the team and people that I met through my journey. But I'm here now, and that's kind of, again, not the long version, but not the short version, Meg. So,
well, when we first initially met, I was so inspired by your story because you've achieved longevity in this career. And you, as you said, you may have had moments of burnout or like, oh, what's the next step? Like, I got to pivot.
Sure.
And, you've found your own corner in this niche industry in every step of the way from what I can gather. And just how inspiring that can be to somebody who's starting out tomorrow.
Sure.
You know, whether they are at a greenhouse today or
Yeah.
simply just an athlete that's like, what's next, you know, after this?
Right.
Or somebody that's like, okay, I feel myself at that burnout rate.
Yeah.
How can I pivot but stay in this industry? Because as we said, like people that join this industry quickly find out that, oh, they don't want to go anywhere else. When you meet the people,
There's a reason. Yeah.
yes,
Correct. Yeah. Right.
when you have this like almost, you know, behind the scenes look at really, you know, the tagline here, like building the world.
Yes.
Especially in sports turf, building the memories. Like they're in the, you know, the memory making business.
Right.
It's hard to turn away from that. Yeah. But, you know, it's, you know, no secret. There are definitely roles in this industry where they are prone to burnout. And it's not, you know, it would be silly to think that we could have somebody stay in that role forever.
Correct.
And just keep, you know, pushing one person to their limit.
Right.
So being able to show that you can have longevity by pivoting and finding your own corner in the world. That's really, you know, what your turf origin story spoke to me.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And I think that's right. If we revisit those key moments in my life as my journey kind of transpired, I'm going to tell you right now, and I think everybody out there is going to be like, I didn't realize this was a turning point, right? You don't see them, Megan. And that's, I think that, you know, you're touching on that, and is, you know, I could talk about it, and this is my personal journey, but it does make a difference for individuals that maybe are at that point or younger, or, you know, there is a kernel that comes out of this podcast about, you know, so what does that mean to me? You know, really, I'm going to go somewhere like that and try to do this. Well, maybe not, but the point is that there's so many different things out there. And we touched on this a little bit earlier, and we kind of talked about it, is like, you know, it's, if you have a vision, and I'm big on vision, right? So you have this vision. So, you know, how do you make that happen? And it's not easy, and it's not just, it just doesn't unfold. And there's a lot of sayings out there about, you know, the things that you work for makes the most wealth, you know, okay, fine, got it. But the point is what happens in the real world, right? And the one thing that I've taken from is the people that you meet and the relationships that you build are incredibly important. And we've talked about this on the first podcast. We've talked about this, you know, off air. We say, you know, how, you know, the industry, I mean, there's friends within this industry, people within this industry that you start talking to, you're like, man, you're just interesting. You know, I love talking to you, right? It's like, this is really cool, right? It's just yourself included, right? You say, I'd watch your podcast, I look at you, see SFMA, watch the interactions. I'm like, wow, this is just really cool. This is something that needed to be done, but nobody was really doing it, right? And there's all those kind of stories out there. So for me, when I look at it and say, what can we do? I'm at a stage in my career where I'm not done. Right? You know, I see there's still things that I want to do, and there's, you know, still the hunger there. But I also know that at this period in time, it's a good period for me to start. How can I give back? Right? You know, we always touch on this, and she's probably tired of hearing about it, but, you know, the Paula Sleaford, right? Those are the type of Matt Duncans, right? These are people that I've, James from your company, I'll be honest with you, right? As we've talked, and it's different conversations, but all these conversations mean something then, and then as you grow, you have a wealth of knowledge, and you say, okay, you know what? I think there's a need here for this. Let me try this. And then you start talking to people, and if there's a need, it works out, but you start showing your vision to the right people. And I know it's hard to find those right people, but amazingly enough, if you're dedicated to what you believe in, you're going to find those right people. Because not everybody's going to believe in you. I'm just part of it. It just really, right? So, so you can't take that and look at it and say, well, okay, well, I give up. You know, it's one of those things. If you really believe in what you're doing, keep the faith, keep moving forward, talking to people, building relationships. You never know when that door or window is going to crack open, and you're like, hey, that's pretty cool. And that's kind of how, if I look back, that's kind of how things worked for me. Is, you know, you look at it and people say, well, I was lucky I was in the right place at the right time. Well, were you? Kind of look behind that. Look, you know, 3 steps before that moment and say, why were you there? Okay, well, I didn't want to be doing this anymore. This kind of looked interesting, so I gave it a shot, and then I put my heart into it and figured out, I'm going to put some dedication into it. And all of a sudden, these opportunities start opening. Well, it's not all of a sudden, right? You've worked to that point to get there. So I think keeping the faith and building those relationships are key for the younger generation, for our generation, for anybody that's kind of going through this field. There's so many opportunities out there.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think, you know, when we're talking about longevity, you can have those turning points even in the same organization.
Heck yeah.
And even it's just how you evolve as a professional.
Yes.
And did you have any like philosophy or ritual or mantra that when you were taking that leap of faith or you had this turning point that you were like, okay, well, if I do this, at least I know like that at the end of the day, I can be happy with how things turned out.
Sure. I'd love to say I had a like turned a phrase. I mean, if we talked to my wife, she'd be like, "Oh, dear Lord, you're a wreck," right?
Yes.
You know, because I look at it and say, "Oh, you know, you got real world problems. It's not just about what, you know, I want a pretty picture and I want to have something that looks really nice. You know, it's what's the real world problem." So I really don't have a mantra that I look at, and that sounds kind of, I don't know, skeptical about the process, but I do have a process, right? But it took me time to get there.
Yeah.
Okay. 20 years ago, the mantra and the process was not there, right?
Yep.
It was like, hey, there's a wall. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to make this happen, right?
Yep.
And not understanding that there is a form of a philosophy or process to kind of get there. But what I truly believe now, looking back, is about building those relationships, right? And it is, you never know when you have an opportunity to meet somebody that is going to allow you to learn something new. And again, I'm not the greatest listener all the time, but I do believe that I look at it and I say, hey, that's kind of interesting, right? And I might not see it from that person's perspective, but I'm like, this is something that can help my team, help myself, help my company, help a university. Yeah. So I think that is being open to conversations and relationships that you might not think are relevant at that moment. Yeah. Right? It's just that kind of uniqueness with a discussion that can come out of it.
Definitely. Yeah, I especially with this groundskeeper chat, it's like some things may not immediately make sense on why they would be a guest or, you know, why it would be a conversation worth having. But I've found every time that it is always worth having. You know, one of the major ones I look back to is Kelly Lynch. She's out of Pure Seed.
Sure.
And it's like, why would a paint manufacturer be interviewing somebody from a seed company?
Right.
The way that my life has flourished since, you know, now I consider her one of my biggest mentors, and the opportunities from our friendship that have happened, and also just our ability to bring other people together. It's just, it may not always make sense, but I think if you go in with that positive intention, that can really have an impact as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not easy. It's challenging at times. You know, for your situation, maybe it's a little bit different on some of those pieces because you see the value coming through it. So if we're in the heat of it, like, you know, we walked today in Valley City, Ohio, it's 91 degrees, but the humidity is already approaching 90 to 95%. So it's miserable out walking around, and it's sunny, and it's hot, and, you know, your teams are out there, you're out there, you're doing your different things. And it's hard to find those glimmers of hope and positivity in a lot of things. But I think it's there, and I think we take it with a grain of salt. So yeah, I think that's probably the biggest message that I've taken from where I've gotten to now is, and there's a lot of unique things right now at Stanley Balck and Decker with the people that I have interactions with that again, if we pull up 17-year-old Vince and say, hey, where are you going?
Yeah.
This is not where I thought I would be. There's no way I would even picture that. Yeah, exactly. So, and green industry was not on my radar at all. So,
do you think you can look back, you know, and not necessarily pinpoint, but be like, oh, that's when it clicked for me that this could be a career, or that like, wow, that was such a rewarding experience that like I knew I could do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, the green industry was definitely, and I don't know if you mind, I'll the greenhouse, I can mention the name.
Oh yeah,
okay,
please.
So it's Boyard's Greenhouse and Farm.
I was waiting for you to say Petites or something.
so similar, right? So it's the same kind of line, but it's Boyard's Greenhouse and Farm from Medina. Mike and Patty Boyard. Again, I look at them as individuals that it gave me a shot. So it was my second year working at the greenhouse and farm that I realized that industry, this industry at the time, was what I wanted to do. So it didn't mean anything about sports turf. It didn't mean anything about golf courses. It didn't mean anything about technically landscape design, but I loved the plants. I loved the idea of engaging with the customer base and talking about different things that we could do to help enhance the living situation. I loved that kind of idea. I really enjoyed that part of it. If you ask my family, my work ethic was a typical teenager. I didn't want to do anything, right? So it came from a farming background where, you're out in the field and you're doing anything and you're working. So I had to grow into that. But that moment, second year, so it would be my sophomore year in college, is when I realized, like, man, I know that I'm not going to give up on my art degree at this point. I've got too much time invested in it, but I want to do something in the green industry, right? And I really think I want to do landscape design. And Boyer's Greenhouse and Farm gave me that opportunity. They allowed me to help run their nursery. And then they gave me a little bit of business acumen as I grew through that, right? So that was definitely my first true green industry mentors. I will, again, point back to my late father. He loved his yard. He loved his gardening. He loved that kind of stuff. And I was reluctant. But I look at all those times and those moments, I do remember those moments. So I carried those into my first parts of those careers. So yeah, that is the first moment that I would say, I want to do something in this industry. And I didn't know what this industry was. I just knew it as a greenhouse and a farm, and you sell petunias and you grow flats and you do cuttings and, you talk to customers and you plant trees and there we go. So that's when I knew I wanted to do something in it. And it's just, it again, we hit on it a little bit earlier. It evolved, changed, pivoted throughout those years to keep it. I'm not going to say keep it fresh. It was, some was by circumstance, some was by choice. Those things happen in life. Yeah. So
I love it. And it's hard to, I think there are so many people that if they knew what this industry was and all the opportunities that would be available to them, like, oh, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer for that athlete that wants to stay in the game. Or it's a no-brainer for, somebody that's like, I do not want to sit at a desk. Or somebody that's like, I want to be a part of a team that, like, we're working towards a common goal. Yeah. All these things. And even talking with Brandon earlier today, the creative side.
Yes.
I don't think any parent, seeing their student flourish in the arts or creative mind would be like, you would be a great groundskeeper. It's so hard to get that message out and have it reach the right people. But, what are some of those things that if you had the opportunity to be in front of a class of 17-year-olds, what would you tell them why they should consider this career?
Yeah, sure. So again, I think you kind of touched on it a little bit, is the possibilities, right? So you're 17, you're not really looking at what happens when you're 30, right? You're looking at, hey, 17 and a half looks pretty cool right now. 18 looks great, right? Okay, so maybe we're looking at that and saying, where are we going next? So sitting in front of a group of younger individuals and trying to inspire them why this is a good field to go into is, it maybe, I think this is the right message at this time, is the flexibility. Yeah. Right. Okay. So you hear a lot of the studies, right? Now and I think you even touched on a little bit, is like, you're there for a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years, and then move on, and then you move on, and then you move on, and nothing wrong with that, right? That works. But years ago, you spent 40 years at a company and you did your thing, right? And then you retired, and then you became a grandparent, and you do your other thing. Now, they're looking at that flexibility of moving around. Well, this industry, and with the people that are in it, I keep on going back to associations, but the point is that you have these networks that are slightly different, but they're all tethered. Yep. Right? So they're all tethered together, and you can do different things, and you can jump into different areas, and then you can find a lot of different things that you'd like to do, but there's a common thread. Okay, so it could be IT and different things that you work with in the green industry. I was asked to help with an article for a different magazine, right? And they asked about some of the trends that are coming up through grounds, right, in equipment manufacturing. And so there's cutting edge technology in our field, right? And then there's different aspects that way where you look and you say, well, I can do a lot of different things, right? Now, people say, well, you can't, maybe you're not going to make a lot of money. Well, that's not accurate. I mean, it depends on what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. And, certain fields are going to offer more than others. And that's every landscape. It's not just green industry. It's tech, that's business, that's, whatever you want to look at. There's different levels.
True.
Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
Right. So if you say, I'm all about the money and I want to do something like that. Well, the green industry offers that.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you find that? Well, talking to people, talking to what they do, where they're at. How do you do this? What experience, what education, what certification do I need? There's avenues. So if I'm standing in front of them, I'm talking about the flexibility.
Definitely.
Right. It's, again, when I talked to you first time for even PGMS, I was like, there's no way that I'm not going to be relevant for a sports turf cast. I don't take care of sports turf anymore. Right. So I'm just like, okay, but I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Again, open-minded, and it worked. I thought it worked out great at PGMS. I thought we had a great experience, and I look and I saw some of the interviews that you've done, and you mentioned a little bit about like the Kelly one, and you watch and see what's going on. I go, wow, again, the reach.
Yes,
we're not narrow-minded. So that's why I love this field. Is there's so many opportunities.
And I think you could look at certain positions in the industry, and no one would ever say that there's a position in this industry that's been stagnant in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, we look at the evolution of what a groundskeeper,
Yes.
has not only accomplished, but what they're up against as well. And so I think that's really appealing for people that like a challenge, that are those go-getters. Like we said earlier, groundskeepers have never been questioned on their work ethic.
No, they have not.
They definitely have that going for them. But yeah, there's so much money going into this field.
Yes.
And there's so many opportunities to find, like we said earlier, like your own little niche part of it.
Right. Exactly.
You could have an entire business, just like there'll be one of our interviews coming up, Savannah Bananas Ball, where this gentleman now, he, just consults on how to turn football fields into baseball fields for one night only, for the world tour.
Right.
Like it's limitless, truly.
So how would you, exactly, you look at it, just say even 5-10 years ago, would you think that would be a career path for the individual? Probably not, right?
Yeah.
You just say, hey, but that's that garage, that's that basement mentality where you're thinking about things and you're developing the next computer, right? It's in our field where we're doing something unique. And you touched a little bit earlier, like FIFA 26, right? And you talk about our industry, and so, and I'm sure you're touched with it because I am as well, as the amount of people that we know within this industry that they're touched by FIFA 26, right? That they're doing something special for FIFA 26. How cool is that to put on your CV, right?
So cool.
Right? And then the reason they're tapped is not because it's a name. It's because they have knowledge and experience, and they are expertise on something that they need for the World Cup, which is the highest honor I could look at and say, wow, that's just really cool. So I think those are the pieces that you look out there and you say, yeah, it's, I cut grass, I put trees in, I mulch. Well, no, I take care of a golf course, right? Or, I take care of a sports field. Yeah, but you do so much more than that.
Yeah.
And we do, and again, I'm not Johnny Positive all the time, but the point is that we have so many cool things going on within our industry that we are able to, even old people like myself, look at these new tricks that are coming through and we're like, wow, this is really cool, man. This is exciting, right? We can do this. We can do, drone imagery to check out stress, not only on turf, but plant material. And we can be more efficient and we can be more sustainable and we're not killing our business, right?
Yep.
And then, so that balance, okay, that's something that somebody, to your point, that's a go-getter would look at and say, why not? Why not me?
Yeah.
Right? Why not be the next large landscaping company out there? Yeah, you can be.
Definitely.
Right.
And there's always going to be the next big game or the next big cultural event that really you have the opportunity to touch.
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool because, we mentioned it a little bit earlier, like in the business of making memories. Right. But even when you're on this end or you're in a university setting or a ground setting, you said people here at, Stanley Balck and Decker, 40 years, 30 years, who we met earlier, 18 years. It's like, you're really creating the backdrop of the majority of their experience when it comes to
Sure.
work life, what they attribute to like all those years spent at a company.
Yes.
When you can pull into a campus like this and, see like the rolling hills and the beautiful trees, and it helps you feel something,
Yes.
helps you feel something more than just this is a clock in, clock out operation.
Agreed. Agreed. It's really a special environment, and we were walking around with a couple individuals from Stanley Balck and Decker today, and they were talking about it also. We say maybe we get a little spoiled because when we come out here every day, right, and we walk it, but there are moments, and I have moments, not every day, but quite often, a couple times a week where I'm like, wow, this is really cool.
Yep.
And it's typically around a plant material, or it's around turf, or it's around something that we're doing that's really cool, as equipment wise or testing wise. So it is a very unique environment. And I mentioned before, we look at this place as a campus. We do many of the same things that you would on a college campus, on a city campus, on something that has got people going through it, that you have high traffic areas, that you have a lot of care involved. You need the aesthetics, but you need functionality. So we do a lot of those same things here, and that's by design. So that's to help us as a company, as well as help us as professionals. So I'm very proud of the team and what we do here. And I am very happy with the opportunity because obviously this is just a beautiful piece of land, and we get to kind of enhance it a little bit and take care of it. So it's quite an honor to be able to do what we do here.
Very cool. And don't take offense to me having to reference my questions. It's really just a tribute to
Didn't even notice
the things I wanted to ask you, because I had some that I had in my back pocket. But typically, I have the Zoom chat, so I can do this without people having to notice.
Yes.
So I just wanted to make sure you weren't offended.
No, not
I knew
at all.
you weren't.
Okay.
But what was something that you may have been intimidated by before, when Stanley Balck and Decker took over this company,
Sure,
that you've come to love, or something that the unknown that may have scared you, that you're like, wow, I can't imagine life without it now?
Yeah, sure. So a couple things that we went through is we were previously a private company, privately held company. We went to a publicly traded company in Stanley Balck and Decker, and it's a larger company. So that's usually how that kind of works, right? So there's always question marks there. It's we're going to be cold. There's going to be insensitivities. I'm going to tell you, it was the complete opposite. There are so many opportunities within Stanley Balck and Decker to do what I'm doing. I'm offered these opportunities by the great leadership that we have here at Valley City, but as well as our corporate headquarters and the whole company itself, right? So there was a fear of the size, right, and the unknown. I think that's really is what it is, the unknown. So, going to come across as being very positive. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. And they've enhanced that. And again, I have a unique job that helps on a few different sides, and it's a lot of fun.
Yes,
right?
Definitely. I could see that today. Definitely.
Yeah, okay. So those are things. So I don't know if it was a fear of unknown, but I think that's for everybody. And change is hard. I've grown. I've been an element of change. I'm good at developing or going in and helping to change something that needs to be changed.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's never easy to be in the middle of that, where you're going along and then we're going to change things. And, again, not that it was bad. It was a change. It was different. It was executed differently. And learning that, there's a learning curve. But again, the sensitivities that we have as a company on our employees, on our end users, is very impressive. So I do like what we do with safety. Some people think that it's too much. I think it's exactly what you need to do, because you care about your end users. Yeah. And I do like that. And I think that's a big thing that they continue to do and push. So yeah, the unknown was probably the one. Yeah. Right?
What do you think it is about change that, I even just look at the last 3 months of my life on the personal end, and there's a constant things changing.
Yes.
And what is it about change that impacts us the way it does. Like,
and again, me personally, right? So looking at it is that it just being comfortable is something that we always fight against.
Yes.
Right. We don't want to be comfortable, but I think naturally is at least myself is like being comfortable isn't too bad. Right? This is okay, but it's never like that, right? So you have those moments or glimpses of being comfortable, and it's like, man, that's pretty cool. That's kind of lounging back and just enjoying the day and not worried about anything.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's always something going on, right? So so that change, at least in my world and the way that I look at it, is that it's something that interferes with how I want to structure the way that I go. And that's the key word, is structure. Okay, so over years, I'm not saying I'm great at it, I still work at it, is that sometimes that structure just can't be that structure.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, okay, and pumping the brakes and taking a breath, and I know it sounds silly and cliche, but it really is. It's just like, okay, that weed is not going to kill me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be upset about that one weed. I know, look at everything else they did. Stop narrowing in and being say. So those moments of change, I think I'm trying to treat more like that. And I got a long way to go with it, but at least in my world and the way that I approach things personally and professionally now it's more beneficial for me because it helps me.
And I think especially for a groundskeeper, if we're talking sports turf, their comfortable is the constant change.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you can reflect back on your time at Akron, and it's like, put weather into the mix, and obviously you're dealing with a daily change. But then you have coaches and user groups and players and all the different things that can change. It's like that's probably when they think of change. It's like that's where they are comfortable.
Yes.
How does your experience, being a groundskeeper for all those years, how have you really seen it help in this role, or just who you are as a person, I guess? How do you look back at that time and reflect and be like, wow, that really helped define who I am today? Yeah.
So I think with the specific example of where we're at now and being with a manufacturer, which, again, seems a little bit odd for what I do, and what I specialize in, is understanding the process of how they get product from design all the way through to the end user. Yeah. That was probably one of the most scary things for me coming to a company like this, because you're going to have me talk to grounds professionals. Cool. I'm good with that. Yeah. Yeah. But you got to know every in and out. Yes. So, you're looking at, here's the transmission. I'm not mechanically inclined. I'll be the first one to admit it. Everybody that knows me is like, dude, you're hard turning a wrench. Yes, I am. I had mechanics doing that stuff, right? I had the experts doing it. That's what I'm big about is having experts doing their role. Yeah. But for me, it was like learning those and learning that process. So that's really where, started looking at it and just saying, wow, okay, how do I approach this? So, because it was foreign to me. And it's not a different language. It was just foreign to me. I just didn't understand it. So my experience is being in grounds management and designing and managing people and managing equipment and different things. That gave me the background and maybe a little bit of confidence to say, okay, I can learn this, but I got to learn it my way. Yeah. So what is my way? And I didn't know that. So I had to experiment and figure out what my way was. And as I learned how I learned, right, that really helped me. But it was that basis of having my own company with my brother and having the employees that we had, the experiences that we learned there, the retail facilities, the greenhouse, the university, doing those things. And all that information was able to kind of bring up and just say, okay, well, that kind of worked there. Let me try this. Yeah. Okay, that's not exactly the same thing, right? But then you start modifying. So it wasn't one particular thing in my past that helped me here, but what it was is just the understanding that I learned differently than an engineer. And my dad was technically an engineer. So, my dad and I, personalities were completely different. He's like information, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, scattered, right? Here we go, right? So those kind of pieces, you rely on your past experiences and the people that you've talked to and met with. And when I got here, it took me some time, but I was able to figure out, hey, I need to run the equipment again. I need to be involved in it. I need to go out and by myself and just mess around with it. Then I need to be in with the shop area and those guys tearing it apart. Okay, hey Vince, this is where we're going in. We're going in the transmission here. Oh, okay. So now I know what a transmission area is. That's great, right? I feel like a silly guy, but it wasn't my thing. So now I started understanding it, and it gave me a really good respect for every step that we see here on this level, on what I could learn. And I'm not gonna be an expert mechanic. It's never gonna happen. Yeah. But I know enough to say, okay, well, we can try this and this and that, and then I understand what they're doing, so this is what they're doing, and I can explain it to somebody else, and then that helped me grow to the next step.
Yeah.
And understand the next step, and then understand, what do we do to make this equipment, or what do we do to make this turf go the same way? They're all similar. It's just different vernacular. There are processes everywhere. There's growth rates in grass, right? The plants grow a certain way. Certain plants grow certain places. Certain don't. Well, in the equipment world, you can use certain pieces of product and types of materials to do certain things, and then other things you can't. Kind of needed to know that.
Yeah.
I needed to know what we were trying to do so that I could help.
Definitely.
And so that was the learning curve.
In how much of being a manager or mentor or a leader is knowing that you don't have to be the expert every time, but you do have to empower people to really flourish in their expertise? Sure.
So again, always learning, always growing. I'm going to say that right now for myself. I feel I'm in a better place than I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Definitely. Each segment you go back, each job or each stop on the journey, I will say I'm a better manager today than I was then. And for that purpose, right?
Yeah.
Early on, it was, okay, sounds great. I know I hired you. You're going to do a job. You're not doing the job. I'm going to do it. So thank you very much. Just keep on moving. Do your thing over here.
Yep.
You're still part of the team, but I'm just going to take care of it.
Yep.
So really hard to empower people early on. And I think that was part of about being youth and physically I could do it.
Yep.
Mentally, I knew I had it. I had to do it, right? It was just, as you go through, again, building relationships and finding mentors and people that are maybe in different phases of your life, you start seeing, if you keep your eyes open, how they manage people. There's some good ones, there's some bad ones, and we all know them, and that's fine. But you start picking up little traits. And I would say throughout my career is most of the managers that I've had or superiors that I've had have been pretty darn good. And learning from them and saying, okay, again, here comes the breath thing. Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
All right. Run with it. What do you mean? Just run with it. Well, but don't you want? I go, nope, I don't want to. Do you believe in it? Yep, go. So I think you kind of heard that from Zach and Brandon today a little bit. Do more of that now than I have in the past. And it is about, trusting in yourself, but also trusting in, when I say trusting in yourself as well as trusting in the decision that you've empowered the right people.
Yep.
And I think that's at the phase now where I look at it and say, okay, I need to put a lot of effort in making sure I'm trusting the right people. And I think that's a different thing than I would have done 20 years ago. And so, I think that's kind of where that kind of lands now.
I love it. No, it makes a lot of sense that would definitely have to be something that would have to evolve over time. As we're talking, I'm thinking about it when I was like, oh, dear Lord, if my brother listens to this thing, he's going to be like, yeah, right, Vince. Yeah, sure. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, exactly. So
younger or older brother?
He's younger. He's 4 years younger than I am.
Okay, so yes.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, right. That was never happening, Vince. That wasn't going on. So, and again, like I said, this is definitely going to have an asterisk, right? Because it's a lot of things that I would like to do that I've tried to do in the past. I continue to try. So I'm ever evolving and ever trying to learn and trying to do it better than I did previously. And I will be the first one to admit that most of the times that I try things, they don't come out the way I want them to, right? And it's really hard for me to say, oh, my goodness, well, how did that happen? And then I got to reevaluate. And sometimes happy accidents are happy accidents. You're like, well, you know what? that's not how I wanted it to turn out, but it turned out pretty darn good.
Yep,
So
we'll stick with it.
how did that happen? And let's make sure we keep on doing that. So, yeah.
I love that. Well, just, spending the day with you and talking with you now, you're somebody that I think everyone would benefit getting advice from in many facets of life.
I don't know about that. We'd talk to my family. That's not how it's like, but it's okay enough. So, yes.
So what are the things that, I'm sure this has been an evolution as well, learning how to take yourself away from the job for a bit.
Yes.
What are some of those? This is always a question we ask on Groundskeeper Chat. What are those things that you're enjoying right now to take you away from the job so that,
sure.
So that, you have, I don't even know if we can fairly call it a balance anymore. I feel like people have abused that term.
Yes.
But just so that when you're at home,
how do you unplug?
Yeah, you're creating a life there as well.
Right. So, and again, I will go back to the life balance thing as well. Right. I'll say that's been a common theme within the industry for many years, and definitely during my career is what's your life, life work balance, blah blah blah. Right. And okay, so fine. I don't think that's a correct term either, as you were saying. But what I look at right now, previously. I'd like to think of myself as athletic. I'm not the most athletic person, but I like competition. I like to be involved in things. I grew up loving soccer. I played soccer for my entire life. Went through, a couple surgeries. So soccer is not an option for me really right now if I would like to walk.
Yeah.
So, and also I'm getting up there. So I like when I play with the young guys, they're definitely taking it to me. So and it's like, okay, so I've fallen in love with golf.
Okay.
And my wife will definitely, she's like, yes, of course he has. Right. So and when I commit to something, I commit.
Okay. I love that.
So it's like, I might not be that good, but man, I hit that one good shot. I'm going back.
Yeah.
Right. So that is probably my biggest release right now is athletically is golf. I love that. I still paint and draw today. I do a lot of different items for family members. I have sold artwork in the past, but I'm always trying to do something that way. I like that creative outlet. It helps me kind of release and let things go. So those are the two kind of activities. Currently, I'm blessed with the family structure that we have is that we have 6 grandkids.
So fun.
And, the oldest grandkids are 12, and I think they're both 12. They're one turns 3 months after the other. So, but they're the oldest ones, and we have all younger grandkids, right? We have 2 infants, and we have a 4-year-old and then a 6-year-old. And so they keep us busy.
Definitely.
They're fantastic.
And they're all locally?
Technically they're all local, right?
Cool.
So they're 25 minutes away from us, but again, we spend. My wife spends as much time as she can with them. As much time as I can as well. We do a lot of different things with them. I just adore them to death. They're just. My dad had told me when I have twins, and when my dad and my mom would watch them, he's like, dude, you're never going to understand what a grandfather means.
That's really sweet.
And I go, there's no way it's that cool. And I go, these holy terrors, you got to be kidding me, right? And I love them to death, right? They're great boys. But when he said that, I just didn't understand what he meant until I got involved and see what we have with these grandchildren. And so spend a lot of time with them. So those are definitely ways that keep me grounded. Right? Things that I used to do with my boys, now we're doing with the grandkids. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is pretty cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
My oldest niece, she is, I think, turning 8. So my parents, probably about 9 years ago, built a pool in their backyard.
Oh, there we go.
And at the time, my dad built an above ground all season pool.
Oh, there we go.
Which does not make it.
Yeah, I love it. Here we go. This sounds great. I love it.
It's a hillbilly monstrosity, let me tell you.
Oh, no way, man.
It's, it's got the full house over it, and then he puts plastic wrap down.
Of course he does. That's what granddads do, man.
In the winter.
Grandfathers are all over that.
The way that thing is a grandkid magnet.
Of course it is.
Every day of the year, my kids are, can we go to Grandma and Dee Dee's house? That was foolproof success over there.
I'm telling you, they knew what they were doing.
They really did.
The grandparents have this magic touch that they just, we'd look at it and we'd say, what in the world are you doing? And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, wow, that is an absolute hit with the children.
Yes.
Absolutely,
yes,
100%.
Yes. We're there. We do a Christmas Eve swim, Halloween swim,
See?
Easter swim. It's every time we can get out there. It's brilliant. And I'm like looking for opportunities to leave the kids there more and more.
I understand that. I'm on the receiving end of that. And I'll be honest with you, we are cool with that kind of stuff.
I keep telling my son, I'm like, you don't ever have to stop swimming if you just sleep over at Grandma's house. And he's like, I'll miss you. And I'm like, no, you won't. I promise.
We got these cool things. FaceTime. We can.
I will not miss you.
We can do it. That's right. Exactly.
So I love that that's an outlet. I'm glad to hear that it can become an outlet for sure.
Oh, absolutely. It's fantastic.
And another question we always ask are, what are behind the headphones? So what are the things you're listening to or watching, keeps everyone, what are the cultural phenomenons? I can really take you as a Love Island kind of guy.
I am not. And this is probably going to shoot me in the foot. I am a big Hallmark Christmas movie guy.
My gosh. Last thing I would have ever expected.
I am huge. I have, my mom has purchased me the Hallmark Christmas blanket. I am.
Oh my God.
We're in the middle of Christmas in July. I know I'm going to get destroyed on this, but it is just who I am.
Oh my gosh.
My wife laughs and chuckles. I mean, I have such a good time. I'll be honest with you. Part of it is I never knew what Hallmark Christmas was.
Yes.
But we came across it, and I don't know if it was during COVID or not, but, my wife, and she's just a very positive person, right? And she's just always, and I wouldn't say always upbeat, but she's always positive, right? And there's always something cool, and I love that about her because it's so cool. And I don't know, it was on the TV one time, and there was a Christmas movie, and I was like, oh, what's this, right? Now, it's the same story. Yeah, but it's fun.
Yes, yeah.
And it's you don't have to think about it.
It's the same story because it works.
And it's happy.
Yes.
Right? And we got enough junk going on in the world. So you talk about unplugging. I mean, it really, sure. But yes. I am big on that. I do love that. I do. And I love a bunch of other shows. So I'm a big TV person. I'm a big movie person. Growing up, my family... My aunt was big about taking me to movies. So I really just fell in love with just going to movies with her.
Yep.
Saw a lot of great films. So I'm big into series. I love watching different series. So I watch all of them at least once to see what's going on. Right. So I check those out. So there's plenty of series besides Hallmark that I enjoy.
Maybe you name drop one of them so you
so I can clear my name a little bit. Well, I don't know. So because we're gonna look at, so it's like I like some of the older ones. There are newer ones that I really do enjoy as well. But I mean, like The West Wing, Fringe.
Yes. My dad loved West Wing.
Okay, so again, right? So now these streaming services, you can get them all.
Yes,
it's just like, this is kind of cool. I think what I really like is there's no commercials.
Yes.
Okay, so that kind of stuff. So I do like those. I do like a lot of the modern ones as well. There's so many different ones out there now that have come out that I really do enjoy. Like The Reachers, different things like that. The books are cool, but the films and the series, stuff like that. Music, I'm a big U2 fan. I grew up, first concert I went to, so I still love U2. I am a little bit more into country now than I have been in the past.
Yes.
And again, it's all from my
evolution.
wife. It is an evolution. She'll be like, we're listening to 80s alternative again, right? So that's just like my buddies, 80s alternative, dude, that is probably the worst. I got it. I understand. But now it's like I've gone to this Party Cove country kind of streaming list, which is really for my wife and the kids, and they so I'm like, I kind of dig this. So
I can do this,
right? So I can do that. So so I'm kind of there. So if we can erase all the Hallmark stuff, that'd be fantastic.
No, your only hope is that maybe people didn't make it this far. In
we talked so. I talked so long. That's it, and that's a good. All right, there we go. I like that.
But the Hallmark for sure. That will be the highlight for me. I might have to clip it and put it right on social.
Hey, here we go. This is it. Yes.
Oh, that's great. And any favorite travel places? Where's your favorite corner of the world that you love to, ideal day vacation?
Yeah, so it's been a while since we've been down there, but I'll go with what my wife and I had started for a family vacation was the Outer Banks.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't know The location was beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think it was more about that almost each year we'd have the full family or a majority of the family,
Yes.
and it was those family vacations. And we haven't gone in a couple of years now, and we got to get back to it. But I think that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
for my wife and I, we do like going down and getting down to the Jamaica area, and we've only done it once, but we loved it.
Yeah.
So again, that's all these future things, but for family wise, which I think is really where I'd land is the OBX
Yes.
trips have been special. One of my wife's daughters got married down there, so we did a beach wedding.
Amazing.
That was really cool,
Yes.
right? So I'd say OBX with the family, and then Michelle and I, my wife, we go on some things by ourselves, but not much. It's mostly with family. We want family around. We
Amazing,
enjoy that,
yeah.
So.
Yep, we do a biannual.
Okay.
Is that by every other year? Is that
Sure.
biannual? A beach vacation, and we started it when I was in the 5th grade. So we have gone every other year since I was in the 5th
You've
grade, and
continued.
now
That's beautiful.
there's 8 grandkids involved, and
yeah.
it's wild. Like it's just, I can't imagine. I mean, I do know it means a lot to my parents, but it also just like I love being there with my kids and seeing them. But we do the same type of area. We go to Topsail Island.
Okay,
so that's
sure.
like North Carolina.
Yeah,
and
familiar. Yeah.
My brother was in the Marines, so
Okay.
anytime that's when it started. Anytime he would leave for deployment or come home for a deployment, we would start. We'd go to that trip, and then it was like every other year after that. So
That's cool.
It's the best.
Cool origin story as well.
Yes,
I like it.
I'm not so sure for him, but for me, for sure.
Yeah, exactly right. Yes.
But no, I think family vacations, they come with their own can of worms for sure. But
Of course they do.
Mainly enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, it's like it's pixies and posies right now.
Yeah.
But when we're in the heat of it and we're driving 12 hours,
Oh
and,
my gosh.
we have a problem where we have to stop, or somebody, or
Yes.
this is going on, or something like that, or we get flooding down there. We've had, it's like,
Oh yes, we last summer we were there during a tropical storm.
Oh, of course, there you go.
And the steps to the beach completely washed away.
Bye. Right.
So we the whole rest of the week we literally just had to slide down the sand dune that you're not allowed to go on at all.
Yeah.
But how else were we allowed to leave
Exactly.
the house?
Yeah, you can't get to the beach then, right? Exactly.
It was wild. It was
is
wild.
crazy, isn't it? So yes, no, fun stuff.
Well, Vince, I knew that once we had more time to talk, we would be able to go off the charts. So I really do appreciate your time, not only on the podcast, but today, the whole campus visit.
I'm glad so happy you guys could make
Such a
it.
unique corner of the world that you have here.
Excellent.
It
I
was
appreciate
really
it.
cool to experience. So
Awesome.
everyone be sure to go back and listen to the PGMS audio episode as well, in case you missed that, or look out for our Day in the Life video series with Vince on our social channels. And thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Meg.
Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
You too.